Welcome back to the Backwoods Gourmet channel. Today we're going to do some braised beef ribs in the Dutch oven, and also going to do a little dessert to go with that. So stay tuned, it's going to be awesome. Alright, here's our beef ribs. These two here I just thawed up in the microwave and they're a little tiny bit cooked, so that's why they look a little different. So I'm home with the flu today from work. Figure I'd do something with myself. Nothing like some good comfort food when you're sick. So this is definitely some good comfort food here. I get these from our local grocery when they trim a whole pork loin to make boneless ribeye steaks. This is what they have left, and we generally get these. I got these today for $3 a pound. So there's 4 of them there. That's good enough for a couple people. You could cook a lot more in the Dutch oven at one time if you want to. You could probably do double that amount. So we're just going to get those seasoned lumps at a minute while we're getting the fire ready. One quick thing, obviously if you got the flu, not a good time for you to be cooking for others. But since both me and my wife, Mrs. Backwoods, both have the flu, and there's nobody but us here, it doesn't really make any difference. But if you got the flu, don't cook for other people, just unless you want them all to get the flu. So that's why I'm home from work. I don't want it to be spreading this to everybody. But in this case, we both have it, so no biggie. All right, to start this off, got my Dutch oven plate set up out here. We just got a liberal amount of coals, just a good pile of them. We want to get this pan pretty hot, so we're just going to set that on a liberal amount. We want to get the oil temperature to smoking, and in the bottom here we have some bacon grease. If you don't have that, use lard, or you can use olive oil, canola oil. Alright, starting to see some smoke coming up from that oil, so just going to go ahead and cut those guys in. Should hear a good sizzle. And we'll just use our tongs, turn them around. We want to brown them very well on all sides. Sear them to lock in the moisture. Also, the caramelization on the meat is going to give it a very rich broth. That's about the color we're looking for. I'm going to get a good sear on all of them. We've got a few more minutes, but right now we're going to go ahead and stack them over to the side there. And here we got one medium large onion, 3 onions chopped very coarsely. And we're just going to go ahead on the side there and just brown these onions off a little bit. Starting to smell like steak, and that's what it should smell like. As you can see, our onions got some nice color on them. You don't want to get them too dark, just a little toasted around the corners. And go ahead and spread the ribs and onions out evenly in your Dutch oven. I like to put them with the meat side up. Looks prettier. And then we're going to add 2 cups of hot beef stock. And about 2 cups of red wine till it's almost covered. Okay, then we're going to put the lid on it and let it start to boil. You see that's come up to a boil now. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few of the extra coals from around the bottom and bring them up on the top. Got a more of a traditional type of Dutch oven cook. It's got some tongs. We'll just sweep a few of them out of there. You still want plenty of heat on the bottom. With a little added heat to the top seems to speed up the process a little bit. We'll just grab a few on the perimeter here. put them on. You may have to, it's a long cook, so plan on using a couple of chimneys of charcoal. It's been about 20 minutes. I'll go ahead and take a look at them real quick. You want to keep an eye on the moisture level in here. I just put a half cup more water in there. And our simmer's dying down, so probably going to go ahead and get some more charcoal ready. Okay, our ribs are going along fine out here. What we got here is we're going to start our dessert. You need to do this step of the dessert at least an hour before you get ready to make this. So what we're going to do is, the only thing you need is, it's very simple. A couple of mangoes. You can use apples, you can use peaches, you can use nectarines, whatever you like. Mangoes, I think, are the best one. And you need some sugar and a raw. So I already peeled these guys. And if anybody's got any tips on how the easy way to get this sucker off of its pit, let me know. I just kind of been slicing down to the pit and then just kind of chopping it off there. So it comes off kind of in pieces like that. But again, I have no experience with this guy till recently, and it seems like he's all pit to me, but it doesn't really matter. We're just chunking him up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get him off the pit, get him in our bowl. You want reasonably thin kind of slices, really. I said it's not easy to do with this huge pit in this thing, but just little pieces. You know, they're as close to a slice as you can get. Even if you just have to go around them and chunk them off there like that, I've been trying that. Again, like if anybody's got any better way of doing this, leave me a comment down there. I'll be happy to learn. So we're just gonna get them in the bowl, gonna break the pieces apart. And then we're going to sprinkle them with sugar in the raw, just this turbinado sugar. I'm going to give them a good liberal coating of that and toss them around in the sugar until they look something like that. And then we're going to put them in the refrigerator and leave them for an hour. That's it. Alright, it's been a little over an hour. We've refreshed the coals on these a couple times. Down here. Meat's tender, falling off the bones. I can see that right now. But what we're going to add to the sauce, we're going to tune it up. We got a little bit of Puerto Rican cilantro, half of a sweet onion, a couple sticks of celery, one small peeled and de-seeded tomato, and 3 or 4 small red potatoes chunked up. So we're just going to go ahead and just give them a dump in there, give them a mix around, close it up. Okay, we got our brand new number 10 Dutch oven over here. We have it preheating about 6-7 minutes, and we're firing this baby up. We're going to do some cornbread as a side dish for our ribs here. So nice and smoky in there. That's what we want. Nice hot oil, and we're just going to go ahead and put our batter right straight into there. We only have 5 coals on the bottom because I want the bottom of this to burn. But it's still a crapshoot sometimes. We're going to give it a shot. Right, we want most of our heat from the top. So we have 17 coals on the top. Alright, we're going to go in our big oven. We're going to check the potatoes and see if they're done. We're just poking them with a knife. They are. So this is looking great, and what we're going to do next is thicken that broth up. Alright, we want to do this very carefully. Put our lid on top of our chimney. All we have here is a couple tablespoons of cornstarch and a little bit of water. I want this to be a clear gravy. We're going to mix it in gently. We don't really want to stir the ribs because we'll break the meat off of them. They're so tender right now that they'll just they'll break apart. So we're going to pour this in a couple places and just swish it back and forth. Try to move the meat over. Put it right in your broth and just swish it around. We want this to be a nice clear gravy. You know, that's why we're not using a roux on it. It would be you know, a milky gravy. We're not looking for that. You can see that's starting to thicken up already. We'll let the magic happen. Put the lid back on. This will be ready to go there in just a few minutes. Alright, time for the big reveal on the cornbread. First attempt in this Dutch oven. Looks pretty good. Nice and brown. Took a little longer than I thought it would. Feels done. So we'll go ahead and shake the coals off the lid, set it aside, let it cool down. Second part of our dessert recipe. No ingredient list necessary. 3 ingredients. 1 cup of flour. I go in the food processor. Now this is 1 cup of sugar and 1 stick of butter cut into pats. So we'll just go ahead and that just helps it blend up better. Now if you don't have a food processor, you can use a pastry blender, a pair of knives, potato masher, whatever you got to incorporate these things together. So we're just going to give this a spin. This will come together pretty quickly as a crumble. Don't want to overwork it because you'll get the butter hot. Alright, we're going to tap that off. We're going to take the whole thing off of there and stick it in the fridge until we're ready to assemble our desserts. Okay, now for our simple dessert. All we did with the crumb is we just took it out of the fridge and we gave it another quick spin in the food processor, and now we're going to put 1 nice scoop in the bottom of each one of our little tureens. I'm going to do this in tureens, so if we don't eat the whole thing tonight, then we can just put these in the fridge and have them tomorrow. Now all I did with the mangoes is I drained off all the fluid that came out of these from the cure process. So we're going to put in a layer of mangoes in each one of them. It's not any kind of rocket science, just try to cover the crumb. Thin layer. We got some charcoal getting ready for the number 10 Dutch oven we're going to use. Alright, now you got that. We're going to come back with another scoop of crumb. Maybe a little less this time. Right on top of those. And then another layer of mango. Try to, spread it out over your however many you got. But you're going to end up with 2 layers of fruit and 3 layers of the crumb top. We'll try to get them all to go. Don't worry if they look a little bit full to start with. They're going to cook down a bit. So that's the rest of our mango. And we'll go ahead and give it a nice top of the cookie crumble. Now these will kind of spill out a little bit and when they cook, and this topping has a lot of sugar in it. So you're going to want to put a piece of parchment paper in the bottom of your Dutch oven so that you don't get a burn-on mess in there. Or if you don't worry about that, then don't do it. But it will bubble over this when the fruit juice and the toppings start to melt down. It's going to go out. So just cut you a piece of parchment paper, put it in the bottom of your Dutch oven, and you'll be fine. We're going to cook these 375 for about 20 minutes. Okay, that's the setup. Parchment paper on the bottom, 3 tureens. If you have number 12, you can get all 4 of them in there. ready to bake. Alright, now since these are in terrines, I'm doing 1 extra charcoal on the bottom. Get that settled in. And then we're going to do this standard amount plus 3, so we want 13 on top. And we want to spread those around the edges. Get those rocking and rolling, and see how it turns out later. As usual, we're going to go ahead and plate this up for you back with gourmet style. We got our cornbread slice already there. You're going to find one of these nice, beautiful beef ribs. And we're going to put him right in the center of the plate. And we're going to grab a couple of potatoes. Slide them right in there. And a beautiful red potato. Okay, let's see what else we can find in there. Let's try one more. Nestle them right up next to them. And a nice drizzle of the onion right over the top. And just simply garnish with a little bit of green onion around the plate. Getting there, a little ways to go. I'm going to call these guys done right now. Mind you, this is the first time I've done them in Dutch oven, but they look about right. I see the mangoes are starting to bubble out a little bit around the edges, so that means they're generally done. Tops are brown. They're probably not going to be crispy in a Dutch oven. I'll show you how we're going to rectify that situation shortly. Okay, well, you know the tops are not crispy because this is a wet, steamy heat inside this Dutch oven. So we're going to do much like they do in a professional kitchen. Raise our magic wand over the top, caramelize these sugars. You can see it drying and caramelizing. And hopefully all the paper in there won't get completely on fire. We want to caramelize the top just a little bit. That's about right there. Okay, that's going to give us hopefully a little crispness to it. And we'll let them cool down and we'll take them out and they'll be delicious.